Fighting Game Theater.
All right, welcome back to the Fighting Game Theater, and I have subjected our guest today, Maffew, with many bad things in the fighting game, I guess, cinematic universe throughout the last 30 years of cinema history for this particular genre. But today we are watching Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins. Maff, how are you feeling this tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic to be talking to you about this wonderful piece of cinema as part of, yes, the fighting game cinematic universe. It's nice how you can just imagine someone's face lighting up. We're watching Mortal Kombat. The journey begins. Right.
Their hats raise up to the ceiling, then fall back down. So, The Journey Begins was a video-only release. Apparently there was a laser disc, though, which I'd love to track down. But this was one of Crazy Larry Kasanov's moves/schemes to squeeze every last drop of blood out of Mortal Kombat. And you can tell this because when this was basically just a marketing tool, this animated movie, animated episode, I would say. It's not feature length, not even close. They try to get there, though. In some ports, though, Matt, he was squeezing the last bit of sweat out of the franchise. Ooh, yeah, if Larry's only played the Super Nintendo version, he's like, oh, this sweat. Kano's sweat makes me feel more manly. So I watched this back in the day. I had rented it from a store in the summer of 95. Leading up.
I went, okay, what's this? The Journey Begins, a 1995 animated film about Mortal Kombat. No, I definitely would have remembered seeing this.
You never saw ads for this at all?
No. Wow. In 95, I would have been borrowing the Brave Little Toaster from the library again.
Because I would always see ads like in like EGM magazine or whatever at the time, and I don't know how well advertised this thing was, but I did hear about it, but I wasn't sure what it was because the VHS tape just had a giant Mortal Kombat logo on it, which I guess is kind of a marketing thing because it's like, oh, it fools you into thinking, oh, it's just Mortal Kombat. I need it. I want it. But it wouldn't show what the animated characters look like with a main visual, and you have to look at the back of the box, and back then the screens were really, really small, so it did kind of fool me into thinking, oh, this is going to be hype, whatever it is, and it was not. Because as we'll go through, my little Maffew's aspirations of being entertained by this animated movie were fatalitized quite decisively, so...
The journey begins, it does not start.
This is essentially a prequel, but it also retells the first Jeff Bennett, who played Johnny Cage / Scorpion. Who's Jeff Bennett, you may ask? He played Johnny Bravo, which is holy crap incredible in my head because he basically played the same character, Johnny Cage and Johnny Bravo. So big ups to him. Also played Brooklyn in Gargoyles, one of my favorite of the Gargoyles, and Petrie, the tiny pterodactyl baby from every single Land Before Time after the first one, which is an incredible stat.
Yes, I've put here, yes, everyone's favorite leather scaly, Brooklyn from Gargoyles.
But Petrie, I was just like, listen, I watched the first Land Before Time. I don't think I watched any of the straight-to-video ones, but that's an incredible run of work. It's like 13 movies in a row, this man. Yeah, and when you hear Johnny Cage speak, you immediately go, when I watched this, his voice sounded recognizable, and every subsequent couple of years when I watch this again, or I'm forced to by somebody else, this is like a curse. People force friends to watch this with them. Whenever he talks, I'm like, I know this voice, but I can never quite grasp it. So just for this particular video we're doing now, I was like, he played Johnny Bravo. That's it. That's totally it. Did you recognize him at all?
I didn't recognize him instantly, but then as soon as you get told, yeah, that's Johnny Bravo, you're like, oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
You got no teeth. Right, but who can resist this?
What much more recognizable voice is Jim Cummings as Shang Tsung / Sub-Zero, who you might remember from every cartoon ever made. He's played Tigger, Winnie the Pooh, was Darkwing Duck, and his most notable role being the really foul-mouthed, horny terror mask from the Splatterhouse remake of 2010, which is such a tonal whiplash.
Yeah, I remember watching your wonderful video about what happened to that, and instantly, before you even said, Jim Cummings does the voice, I'm like, yep, that's Jim, and he's swearing.
Yeah, and he's perfect in that role. So he, of course, since this is 95, they hired this man to play the Asian man known as Shang Tsung. So, as was the style at the time.
He said the bit! He said it! That's it. Show's over, folks. I've put here, yes. Wow, Jim Cummings does voice.
Kombat! We're out.
Thanks for watching. I thought, wow, James Cummings does the voice of Sub-Zero. If Charlie Adler voices Scorpion, this is going on my Fave 5 alone. And I thought, what's the first role you think of when you hear Jim Cummings?
It's probably one I can think of right now, and I know that's weird to say, because his voice, his regular speaking voice is completely different from like Tigger or Winnie the Pooh or whoever, but I actually do think of the Terror Mask from the Splatterhouse remake. Maybe it's because I worked on a video and I've beaten that game, but it's the type of thing where he's played so many roles, I can't even pick one out very easily. What's it for you?
I've got mine's the Master from Fallout, because he's part of the three voices. Ooh. Join, die. Join, die. And also the second Robotnik. Snively, die. Snively, die.
Oh, yeah. God, like this guy is like, I think he's probably in the running for cartoon voice actor that's like had the most roles. It's like in a list, like 1,000 roles over the course of 30 years. So very talented man.
There's one person that can possibly contest that.
Who is
Jim
that,
Cummings?
Maffew?
Why? Jennifer Hale.
Of course.
Known for voicing everyone.
I have down Naomi Hunter from Metal Gear and FemShep as my first two most common things, and I have a special asterisk for one particular role. But what do you have?
I've got Black Cat from the best Spider-Man cartoon of all time. Jennifer Steele from Skeleton Warriors, and
thank you.
And Ms. Keen from the Powerpuff Girls.
Very nice. My asterisk is I was playing the Catwoman game based on the Halle Berry magnum opus Catwoman. And as you're playing
that. No, anyone else saying that would be like, you're a crazy person. You're like, I'll play the Catwoman game.
I was just doing my regular yearly replay of Catwoman. And in the CG cutscenes, I believe you can hear Halle Berry or perhaps recycle lines from the movie, but 90% of the game, I'm like, I know this voice. And one time on Twitter years ago, I looked this up first. It sounds like Jennifer Hale. And I looked it up, could not find a definitive, in any credits list and whatever. Oh. So I went straight to the source and asked Miss Hale on Twitter, did you by chance play Catwoman in the Halle Berry Catwoman game? She's like, yep, it was an uncredited role.
Oh. Because they wanted to bring shame to Halle Berry's career.
I think they wanted to bring shame to Jennifer Hale's career for that.
No, yeah, you know what? Yeah.
But yeah, those are the three most notable. And Jim Cummings also plays Sub-Zero. And I love that Jeff Bennett plays Johnny Cage and Scorpion, much like Daniel Pesina played Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the original Mortal Kombat game. So that's a nice little bit.
I thought of it like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's that's more like Larry Kasanoff being like, we're not getting to other actors. Absolutely not. So the first 2 minutes of this videotape is 2 minutes of selling you shit. The Mortal Kombat live tour, which I was always really sad to have never seen as a kid. Just a bunch of actors dancing around and mock fighting for about 45 minutes. and the Mortal Kombat fan club. And you can also get one of the film crew's sweaty used t-shirts.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's amazing. Starting
Take
off
it to murder scenes. Throw it on the body. Get them arrested.
his DNA's all over it.
I'm telling you, I was fighting Shang Tsung on stage.
I would be fine with this hawking at the start if it was at the end where all the other hawking is. Like, choose the lane. It's either going to be in the start or be in the end. Or, put commercial breaks into this animated film. Why not?
It's an advert sandwich. That's all this tape is.
It really is. So, of course, we start off with Raiden narration with papyrus font. Doing the start of the credits, and we're already recycling a bunch of random shots from later in the video. They just started and they're immediately out of ideas.
Yep, not before we hear the Mortal Kombat theme by the Immortals, the one that's not a rip-off of Tribal Dance by 2 Unlimited. It's not the same. It's not the same. Not the same.
So, and we also hear, along with the Mortal Kombat theme, the first of many repeating grunts and yells. Specifically, a Johnny Cage. Rah!
Each battle takes place on an...
It happens. I want to say, doesn't matter who is fighting. Doesn't matter if the voice actor for Johnny Cage is not on screen or not. You will hear it. Goro will say it. Sub-Zero will scream it. It doesn't matter. So, again, they only recorded so many clips of audio and just keep reusing them, which is, guess what, going to be a running theme.
Yeah, like the video games.
Hey, not too bad. You know what? I'm not sure if I talked to you about this before. It always bugged me for years and years and years that it took until MK9 for them to stop doing that. That all male fighters in Mortal Kombat had the same yell. Except for Liu Kang and like maybe Goro, like they would always recycle. I think it was in the 3D PS2 games where they varied it up a little bit, but it was still mostly the same stuff. And I'm discounting like Raiden yells for doing the torpedo and like things like that, but like they reused it like so many times. So it was like male, maybe one variant, and then all female like grunts and battle noises were the same. But it really took until Mortal Kombat 9 where they said, okay, well, now every character has their own voice actor and they will do everything. Because it was like Dan Forden or like some other Mortal Kombat audio guy that was just doing all of them, so...
You know what? It's such an obvious thing, and I'm clearly really qualified to be doing this Mortal Kombat video review. I don't think I've put that much attention to that or noticed it because I've been too focused on, the crazy yells or... did a feature in CVG magazine way back in the day when Mortal Kombat 4 was in development, where one of the developers for Mortal Kombat bragged about they made Quan Chi yell something like, "Show me the quiche," but really quickly, and that's what the yell is. And even like did a little Photoshop of a little quiche, which I thought was in the game because I was stupid.
I mean, it was Mortal Kombat 4 that at least in the cutscenes they had their own voice actors, but they were also really, really shared. Like it was just a bunch of Mortal Kombat team members just doing all the voices, and like Quan Chi's voice was the exact same as like whoever's like Kai or Jarek. Like it shared a lot of the same guys. They just made sure that they weren't in the same scene together, so it wasn't like the same voice talking against the same voice, that type of thing. And like a little bit in the 3D MK games, but yeah, it was only until Mortal Kombat 9 where each character had their own dedicated voice actors. So I love, again...
Do you get they were like rolling their eyes like, oh, okay, fine. I guess change
this
the voices.
Franchise has made a little bit of money. We can spend it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Speaking of spending no money, we already joined Mortal Kombat in progress because we have leapfrogged the first like 8-10 minutes of the movie, and now we're just starting off in Shang Tsung's crummy looking boat.
His crappy wooden boat.
So
yeah, all right. We go really quickly. We've got so much stuff happening. We get the dreaded embossed text that has aged as well as frosted tips I've put for this period. It's so closely associated with low-budget cheapness, I'm surprised this wasn't distributed by Hollywood DVD. I'm not sure if that translates to you. We see clips of someone playing Magic Carpet as the credits roll by, and someone explains about the fate of the Earth being settled, not in terms of armies or massive battles, pish-posh, instead sending their best and bravest to fight one-on-one, which is rather more polite. Until they reveal Outworld has won 9 times and can't win again, which is also the plot of Rulon Gardner defeating Alexander Kralin in the 2000 Olympics. Don't know why that was in my head at the point. Then logo says Mortal Kombat, and well done syncing that up for when the guy says Mortal Kombat, and then Mortal Kombat appears. That lies to us and implies that there will be effort. As much as I love the Mortal Kombat movie, the dodgy cartoon, the number one adaptation for Mortal Kombat 1, I'd say, was the Malibu Comics Blood and Thunder series, which I think we talked about before. But it's all I was thinking about watching this, because obviously it's retelling an early part of Mortal Kombat mythology. Not that one, don't worry. Did you ever get a chance to read that?
Yeah, I never all the way through, but I had a couple of issues back in the day. But I want to say 3-4 years ago, I tried digitally find them again and read through them, and they had all those sub series underneath it. It was like Kano and Raiden, it was just a comic series called Kano and Raiden, the original Odd Couple. And then Goro, Prince of Pain. It was just Goro's own mini series. They weren't bad comics at all, but they really were again wringing the sweat and or blood out of just the comics. And I did like the artwork though for the most part.
What do you think of the mix of CGI ships, possible mocap fighting, and hand-drawn animated fight scenes that we're introduced to here, Matt?
So I'll get into that in 1 second, because I have a very specific instance of do I love this or hate it? I still can't tell, right? But the first shot that we see once all the Raiden's explanation and the Mortal Kombat music finally dies down is, of course, one of our heroes throwing up over the side of a boat.
I think I'm gonna hurl.
Seasick, huh?
What gave it away? Was it my green skin tone or my delightful odor?
And this is our first instance of many where let's rub Vaseline all over the background and have one character in the foreground, because your eye is meant to be drawn. And this is a very common thing you see in cartoons, fairly frequently, especially in this time frame and later. But this is the most horrific usage of it, where I actually feel like I'm suffering from glaucoma or something, and I'm just trying to. So I can just look at Sonya, and much like the movie, Sonya's just hey, can't contact Jax. Jax, where are you? I guess I'm stuck on this ship, and things just move. I don't know if you agree with this. Things move really slowly in this, and they also move incredibly fast. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So during conversations, it goes slowly, but in the bridges between those conversations, things just, all right, yeah, then the Sub-Zero comes in, and then, here's Shang Tsung. Oh, wait, a Scorpion's poking his head out, and here's Liu Kang and Johnny Cage again, blah, 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 blah. And then a fight happens, and before the fight even starts, it almost ends. And that kind of, until we get to the very end of this video, which is glacial, I would charitably describe it, that this is how the show starts with a one hero throwing up, and just like the movie, they don't like each other very much, our three heroes, because they have to grow into each other. They have to become friends, right?
Right, exactly. And I just want to correct you. Obviously, I know you're a professional, but this film isn't glacial. This film isn't glacial. It's Sub-Zero.
Oh.
Glacial was the non-copyright version in WCW, but I don't blame you. It's all right. You're an old man now. You are right there. Yes, the animation is striking. Because, yes, you're what am I supposed to be focusing on? Is it the Vaseline ship, which must mean a bitch to walk on? Or is it the too soft in certain areas cell animation that we have in the front, where I think they've attempted to do a light source, but then kind of given up because they go, oh, it's at night. And then they've gone, well, hang on, there has to be some sort of light source, or this would be pitch black, technically. And then they've gone, wait, it's Mortal Kombat. It's Enter the Dragon with knobs on. No one's going to care. I think it's funny that we've got 45 minutes, if you don't count the adverts. Here's the faces. Liu Kang, Sonya Blaze, and Johnny Cage. And it is so funny to me as the kid that grew up reading the manuals to these games, knows the backstories. The hero of the Order of Light. trained special forces unit soldier, and an actor. And I put, neither of them realizes why they are here, says the voiceover. And I put, they got on a boat without realizing the destination. This could be a Mr. Beast video nowadays.
I mean, it's because they jump frog the explanation of how they even got on the boat. I think if you were going to start this, like, already in progress, they should at least be at the dock, right? And
Right.
like, Liu Kang bumps into Johnny Cage and says, oh, I'm joining this tournament. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm here, too, to, like, prove I'm not a fake. And then, Sonya's like, oh, I heard Kano. I heard a rumor that Kano may or may not be on that ship. And that's a more logical place to start because, like you just said, the voiceover says, they know not why they are here or whatever. They were fooled onto the ship like that.
Yeah. But then minutes after that, Liu Kang goes, hey, this is an invitation-only tournament. How did you get on? Which means the voiceover guy was telling lies.
Oh. And yeah, the rules, they're very bendy, twisty in this universe. Like, as Shang Tsung will demonstrate, you can just attack anybody at any time and, like, kill them before they enter the tournament.
I was so mad.
Yeah, no, me too.
Bending more rules than the Catholic Church.
The light source you're talking about, is that like perhaps the sun that's located inside the deck of the ship whenever Shang Tsung opens the door and the perpetual sun is shooting every single frame of light? What is there a bomb going off?
The weed farm he's got going. That's why his pupils have disappeared.
I must bring this to Shao Kahn.
International waters, you cannot get arrested.
And as soon as Shang Tsung appears, just starts horning in on Sonya. I don't know why Larry Kasanoff and all of his projects really pushing for the dirty old fucker, like, gimmick on Shang Tsung. Like, this never happens in anything else, except for the Threshold entertainment things. Not in any games, not in any comics as far as I'm aware, but maybe people at home can correct me on that. Maybe he tries it there, but I've never known it to be an official Mortal Kombat thing. Like, why would he care about Sonya? Like, she's the most Earth-based fighter. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, if Twitter's taught us anything, it's all people we used to respect are constantly horny and don't care who knows about it.
Yes, so.
JR, we can see your likes. And it's, I like that. Of course, Sonya Blade got onto a boat with no invitation. She's wearing a high-vis. You can get into anywhere if you wear one of them and walk confidently. She did that, and then, the flat 2D character art noticeably stands out from the backgrounds. With the pirate ship, it's almost like I'm playing Escape from Monkey Island. And then, what else have I got? Oh, Randy Hamilton voices Liu Kang and makes him sound as American as possible. You really get the sense of Kang being a proud Chinese person who sounds about 2 seconds away of yelling, "Whoa, dude!"
A little bit, yeah. Very surf ninjas.
But first he had to beat my ancestor, Kung Lao. He was the champion of Mortal Kombat. He defeated Shang Tsung. How could he lose?
Oh, well, I'll help him if he, falls off the boat. Sub-Zero is playing the role of a heavy, like he did in the film, to much annoyance for nerds like me. But I also understand if you've got limited time and you can't have too many things happening in one adaptation, this is perfect for this. It's the expansion pack for the film, so yeah. Sub-Zero has the little ears that early artwork would showcase.
Absolutely.
That's the Knuckles was pink originally of Mortal Kombat for me.
Very nice. And at least, like you said, expansion pack, they give a little bit more explanation as to why Scorpion and Sub-Zero are not constantly ripping out each other's throats and or spines, because it's at that one line in the movie, in the theatrical film, where he's like, "They're slaves under my power, and they're normally enemies." But at least they give it a bit more where he's like, hey, don't let those good guys kill Sub-Zero, Scorpion. And I love how Scorpion's this mischievous scamp that's constantly like looking behind barrels and the sides of walls and going, what's going on over here? And just Shang Tsung manipulating him so easily, like whispering sweet nothings in his little earbuds, just saying, hey, just get in there and fight. And that happens very soon. And when that happens, it's what? A minute and a half of incompetent buffoonery of a fight. And here's where here's where I don't know whether the 2D animated fights are worse than the 3D animated fights. How are you feeling between both those? Because they have their pros and cons.
Oh, I'm getting it. Don't you worry. I'm doing light cardio to prepare for this stroll through the mud. Yes, Zero shows he is called by freezing Sonya. He should have had a clearer name. Why is Jim Cummings' voice as Sub-Zero? And then a second later, he is also voicing Shang Tsung. Why even voice two characters in the same damn scene? Especially because he's doing the big guard voice from Aladdin voice for both. Sonya doesn't want an attorney. Shang is like, tough, you're in it. Shang laughs evilly before retreating into the boat where he's presumably got one of those baby lights when they have trouble sleeping. I understand Shang Tsung. I had the Thomas the Tank Engine one. And anyway, so far the best fight has been the cell animation clashing with the CGI. They are not bonding at all. But I realize when Liu Kang walks to the left and the camera pans up, that's there to disguise the limited animation we have to deal with. Yep. As Liu walks with all of 3 frames. It's very Space Ghost coast to coast, but there was a lot of fighting on that show for a good reason.
That's a very good point.
Zero attacks Cage with ice attacks, causing Cage to slide into some wooden boxes because it's a video game ship. Of course, there's going to be some of those lying around. Damn
boxes!
Yeah, quick, Cage, break them open and get the useful items.
Scorpion's spear jumps out, but because there's no blood, and this has to be even more tamed down than the motion picture. Scorpion's spear gently, sensually wraps itself around your torso.
Yes, very, very beautiful. Tenderly, as you said. He's slow cooking. The ice blast striking the mast and slowly freezing is the nicest effect on the show so far. Kang gets the backflip over attack and quickly hits Zero. Then Scorpion shows his abilities to teleport and yells, "Get over here!" And despite the limited animation, it's not that badly put together, as it's easy to follow considering there's 5 people fighting at once.
True.
Spoilers from ahead, this would not last. What did you think of it, Matt?
It's like, for this to be your first fight, other than the clips at the very, very start, the montage, it puts its very worst foot forward by doing this. I think the CGI fights are slightly better. They're kind of uglier, but at least the action is easier to follow. And, it doesn't last very long, so at least you kind of go, okay, well, the main real fights will be happening later. This is just the first little, Raiden just comes in, break it up. And again, much like the movie, but the venues slightly change. Instead of being in the bowels of the ship and the room with all the chains, it's just on the top of the ship, and Raiden does his most Raiden thing, which is just heavy-handed exposition, including our first CGI fight, explaining how Shang Tsung became champion. And I this looks like it, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but it says all over that these were motion captured. And when I really look at them, I'm like, yeah, this does feel like a demo for, like, the demo of when you haven't put a quarter into Virtua Fighter yet. And it's just them, the camera angles going nuts, going around them. But at the end of the day, this came out in 1995, so a full year after Killer Instinct and Virtua Fighter 2 in the arcades. So textures existed, but I guess Larry Kasanoff is like, that costs thousands more. I can't put textures on these dudes, so yeah, no textures.
We still only have one male voice for yelling. We talk about textures. Yeah!
So
yeah, I put we'll put it. Lord Raiden shows up, voiced by Ron Feinberg, the dude who did Titanus in season 8 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon. Because when that show was at its peak, 1994.
Yep.
Raiden makes it clear Shang is messing with Mortal Kombat rules by having fights before the tournament. Shang immediately apologizes and leaves so we could show the exact same animation as before, where he walks away and the door shuts.
So nice they showed it twice.
Yeah, exactly. Raiden, the Irish cop, explains the plot, and we get mocap low-res polygon fighting.
Yep.
It looks mocapped as the fighting's very fluid, I've put here. It's a shame the dudes fighting have one unmoving face.
Yeah.
Shang is the cave from Aladdin, and the monk is played by Wallace of Gromit fame. That's the face they chose.
It is, because when they're not a named character, it's like I think this might be the only one. It's just some White Lotus member or whatever, doesn't even get a name or whatever. So the other ones, it's like, oh, okay, well, Goro's face actually works quite well for this type of animation because it's just red eyes and sharp teeth. That's all he needs. But for anyone that has a human face, it would be nice for them to have a human face instead of Playmobil, you know?
Yes, Shang shakily defeats the monk and takes his soul, and then Raiden is like, no pressure, but you need to beat him or the realms of Earth will be destroyed. I'm sure the pressure of having their souls taken was pressure enough, but you do you, Raiden.
Thanks. So quickly after this, the ship arrives at the island from Mist 1. Because this island,
oh, that's good booking, Matt.
I cannot handle
Oh,
the
God,
way
I'm sorry.
this I cannot handle the way that this island looks because it's the most level 1 video game. It's cheery, it's fun. We're in fucking Klonoa and Mist all at the same time. And to properly introduce this to us, we see like some people disbarking from the ship, and this is where I'm going, oh no, this is what this reminds me of. When you see 2D animated Sub-Zero walking down the dock, I'm like, we're playing Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero now, because it's a 2D animated sprite on a bad CGI 3D background. Now they're made in polygons and Mythologies, but still I was like, oh, a big bang of Mythologies off this already. But
I was sadly I was not at that place. I have put the cell animations the cell animations try their best to blend in, but it's a sunny day now on the island away from the Dark Bowl. Everything resembles the stages from Capcom Fighting Evolution. Which I do apologize for bringing up that memory for anyone who did play it. Also, I'll put there before we go off the boat, these three were the best to defend Earthrealm. I appreciate not having one person be the specific choice because it is a fighting game and you can pick whoever you want, so don't just have all the pressure on Liu Kang. But Johnny Cage is one of Earth's best warriors. That didn't work for me in Mortal Kombat 11 and ain't working for me here.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he has to be there. Fish out of water. I don't know what's going on, and I'm the comic relief. But when you really say like he's especially this Johnny Cage, because this is way cheesier and hard to take seriously versus movie Johnny Cage, who at least mans up and like has some good fights and does the right thing in the end. This Johnny Cage would not do the right thing, and he would be out. He would like pay someone to drive him back off the island to leave. So I do not believe him one bit. I also don't believe the lineup of jobbers. Now, the camera pans across these islands, the Isle of Jobbers, so many times, and there's this one fucking guy that they show amidst all the barakas and random like plain clothes martial artists. This one dude with the green pants, Mad Max shoulder pad, avec glasses and baseball cap, get into my boy's stable.
It's okay until the face.
It's someone's dad. It's Dad Man.
Yes, the Mortal Kombat jobbers are very season 1 of King of the Hill.
Yeah. Very much.
Like, don't worry, folks, it gets better from here level of animations.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Johnny...
But at least we get to, by the way, get used to seeing the walk animation as the three fighters walk up the stairs, because the animators really like that. We're seeing a lot more of it.
This is when you realize, if you hadn't realized it already, whether you're an adult in 2024, whether you're 15 in 1995, you'd be like, oh, wow, they were trying to eat up time. Like immediate time wasting, walk and brawl, gotta just eat up time until it's time to go home, because there's so many shots that are reused. Like I would say like every 2 minutes there's like a reused shot, like either someone's expression or walking or a door opening slowly or closing back again. And so it's pretty shameless pretty early on. I think as a kid it's only towards the end of the video where I was like, oh my god, they have nothing. But I think for the most part, it kind of fooled me back then, but certainly not now. So when Johnny sees all these jobbers, he does have probably the line of the movie where he's like, yep, I'm the best looking guy here.
Yeah, once again, I'm the best looking guy here.
Stop gloating.
I'm the best, slightly more animated guy here.
Yeah. And then Jennifer Hale giving her best, get over yourself. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That could fit into the actual movie fine enough. So he also is constantly wearing his sunglasses until the very end of the film. And they're so big though. And I really feel like I'm getting the impression that he's hard of seeing now. Like and he sells that when he fights because he's so uncoordinated for the most part. So. Well,
it's funny you say that actually, because I hadn't thought about this fascinating bit of Mortal Kombat lore you've just dropped on top of us. Mm-hmm. However, Shang Tsung walks through another door.
Yep.
Because the production, during his audition, he said, well, I can walk through a door, and then when you're hired. Goro also comes out the door, but is somehow in shadow, despite being stood next to brightly lit Shang. And Cage is like, whoa, does that dude have 4 arms or something? And Sonya's like, what guy? Who? What the hell are you talking about? Thus, she seems to think Cage is blind, but she also can't see him.
I'd assume, like, because Johnny cannot be paying more attention than anybody else, right? His mind is already wandering. He's got brain rot. He doesn't know why he's here, really, right? So for the fact that he's the one that kind of notices that. Now, I'm trying to remember. I think in the live action film, all 3 of them see a giant Goro shadow, like, displayed on a wall, and he's just screaming, like, screaming in anger. And they're like, let's go another way. Like, let's forget that. I don't even want to try that down that hallway. So this is a much lamer way to do it, because it makes Johnny feel like he's in a horror movie and nobody believes that he saw a 4-armed ghost, you know?
Yeah, like we saw a dude who could do ice. We saw a dude who walked like a scorpion. There was a bit of a tee-hee. We've got Dad Man behind. 4-armed man.
That's impossible.
Yeah. Or maybe they've realized we're going to die here and our soul's going to get taken. I'm going to gaslight Johnny Cage.
I have time for it. We have at least 3 hours before we get killed in the tournament. So as they kind of like get that tease, that whiff of Goro, Shang Tsung also does his little and it will be your last. Now they've already, hired this white man to do Shang Tsung, but then Johnny does an impersonation of the accent and doubles down on it.
Make yourselves at home on our little island. Enjoy an evening of peace and tranquility. It may be your last.
What a joke. It may be your last. Who's he kidding?
Oh, I know. But Cage does a more offensively Asian impression accent than any of the other voice actors dared to go.
Krusty the Clown doing We So Sorry.
Oh, no.
Raiden then appears because it's time for more exposition, and at least this brings us an excuse to see a semi-proper Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight. It is another CGI one. What did you think of this?
Yeah, but Kang tells Raiden about Scorpion's aura, and Raiden replies, he's a Spectre, no cap. We get a brief shot of the camera, I guess, rising up to see the Mortal Kombat arena, but the characters are tilted even though the camera isn't. Made me laugh. We get a flashback of the Scorp vs. Zero fight. Both men's faces are covered up, so this looks way better than the previous one, if you ignore the Iron Maiden Dance of the Dead album cover low-res quality feel of the oh god, I hate reminding myself of that. But the story, which is accurate to the games, is explained, unlike in the film, so that shut up nerds like me. Anyway, Scorpion, too mad to die. Good to know. That's how I live my life nowadays.
I do like how we see I think this is the only fatality in this video. But
I mean, later on, someone gets dumped, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But just as Sub-Zero is shattering Ice Scorpion, it cuts away. Like, you maybe see about, like, you know, a second and a half of it. I would have loved to have seen the Lawnmower Man effects they would have used to show the ice exploding in more detail. Would have been a million little polygons shattering, and then it'd be an angry scorpion face turning into a skull. Like, I bet you that was in the storyboards, and they're like, nah, cut it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. We'll pretend we're doing it artistically like Reservoir Dogs. It's like, no, it's... Whoa, ice. Come on, man. That's...
I don't think
at this time of year?
I don't think artistically enters the conversation when it's Threshold Entertainment trying to squeeze every bile, every drop of sweat out of this franchise. So
I like you finding out different liquids.
Yeah, just throw them all in there. The heroes are then, like, you know, listening to Raiden explain all this, and Sub-Zero was also listening as he continues to traverse Klonoa 1's first level. Before we then immediately move on to Raiden going, hey, you know what? We got some time. I'll tell you Goro's backstory as well, which is very Lion King Mufasa-esque.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that until you... Oh, God, yes, you're right. Oh, no. Yes, I put, after teasing Goro, we show him. What was the point in teasing him like he's frigging Dio in Stardust Crusaders? I think something got lost in translation there.
I think so.
Speaking of which, dedicated Shaolin fighter Liu Kang tells us he can't believe the stories of Shang are true. He thought his masters were simply old men telling crazy stories. I put, what the hell is this? I hate this version of Liu Kang. Death to Earth Realm.
It was like that in the motion picture, but he's very inconsistent. He believes certain things, like, oh yeah, you're my Lord Raiden, God of Thunder and Lightning. Shang Tsung, that's crazy.
He's a good Christian. He picks the bits he wants to believe in and ignores the rest. Yeah, Raiden can't fight because he's immortal. I'll put just wait until Annihilation and he gets a haircut. Raiden has to remind the three characters they're the best because he's absolutely scared the hell out of them with more plot. That would have been funny to have if they've had an inconsequential character find out what's at stake and then go, yeah, bye, and dive off the boat.
Yeah, like Dad
and
Man.
have Raiden... I'll Raiden look and go, damn, I guess I was wrong to put my faith into Buzz from Pit Fighter.
Should always.
Yeah.
So right after this long Goro backstory, which I at least appreciated, I don't know if this comes from anything in particular, like any backstory was made for Mortal Kombat, like in the initial very first comic book that John Tobias worked on, but I still was like, hey, this is cool, and they can just reuse a Goro model. Just make him a bit darker and call him Gore Black or whatever the hell his name was.
Oh, yes. This is very good. Oh, God, I've not even got the bit you asked me about. I'm very rude. I forget which bit to go where. We see Goro has apparently left his cave for a crafty cigarette. Raiden explains who he is, and then Goro leaves so we can also enjoy his walking away animation. Then Raiden says Goro leads the legions of nomads, who are clearly Baraka and his mates. Well, that ain't right, but it's also way before having Shokan as a regular species, I think. Also, I guess no one bothered to check what a Baraka was, so no one says Tarkatan.
Yeah, not yet.
Tarkatan, whatever. Anyway, even after the voiceover explained that there's no armies, we then see 500 Tarkatan, and Raiden's like, yeah, you can beat them all.
No problem. So, yeah, I think it's just a ream of, again, time wasting, because at this point, all this stuff from the movie would be happening, the live action movie, but we can't give that away, can we? We're following the plot, but we can't just give you those fights that are a big plot point in the film, so it's a lot of backstory, flashback fights. So immediately after Goro's one, where it's like, I don't believe that. The Shokan way is no honor all the time. It's just Eddie Guerrero, lie, cheat, steal. That doesn't ring true to any other Mortal Kombat movie or piece of media or game that talks about the Shokan. They're literally all about honor.
Yeah, I think it's them going, they're the bad guys. And I'm like, I think we established that. Look at him.
Forearms.
Yeah, that's friendly Goro. 10 feet tall, forearms, and everyone's scared of him. Gives all his money to charity. Just really hyping it on in case someone's watching Mortal Kombat the first time going, I don't get it.
Yeah,
is
is
Liu
he
Kang
a
the bad
bad
guy?
So yeah, you have to see reboot season 1 Goro beat up like his get beat up by his brother, and then almost get thrown off, the cliff in like a Lion King-esque way. But then instead, Mufasa actually throws Scar into the pit, and he's like, "Oh no, it's all about me," and how you play it.
Yeah. Oh right, that's where we're at. It's so I wrote watch this week in my notes. I'm like, there's so many flashbacks. I'm like, all right,
exactly.
Is this where we're at? Oh, here we go. Raiden talks about the great Kung Lao, who was Liu's ancestor, which we know because Liu yells, "My ancestor!" And I thought, wait, is that canon or not? I always assumed it was because it was in the Malibu comic. And it just says here from the Mortal Kombat wiki that I read, Liu Kang is said to be one of the great Kung Lao's descendants in the film and its spin-off trading card. The great Kung Lao mentioned in the flashback in this is the Kung Lao with the razor-rimmed hat. Even though in the games, the great Kung Lao and the Kung Lao with the razor-rimmed hat are two different characters.
Thank you for bringing this up. This bothered me even as a kid because I had seen on the trading cards, and I think that were derived from the original comic that was like a tie-in for Mortal Kombat 1. The Great Kung Lao is just like a very simple but still intimidating looking bald guy with like a headband and some gauntlets, and he's just wearing like red pants or something. And just them using Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat 2's model is like a little lazy. If you're gonna go this far into the backstory, at least have that character looking like he does. And he's been designed, like, it's been years since Mortal Kombat 1. So I don't know why and I guess, again, I don't think Threshold Entertainment was on the ball about this type of stuff. So that kind of disappointed me. But I was happy that they included, like, here's the fight when Goro became the Mortal Kombat champion. I'm like, okay, that's cool at least.
Yeah, and I always thought as a kid the way they put it like that, like, oh, Kung Lao's just a title. Right, okay, this dude's the current Kung Lao. It's Tiger Mask. Or, Ultimate Warrior. Because Kerry Von Erich was the second. He was, Ultimate Warrior was the first great Kung Lao, and then the other one was Kerry Von Erich. Shut up, Matthew, shut up, Matthew.
Von Erich is the great Kung Lao.
He took off his razor-trimmed foot and threw it at people. Raiden explains Goro is a prince back home, and Sonya is like, that's a prince? In disbelief, because she's a white American woman, and they're used to being racist, I guess. Goro takes on Goro when the other player selects him too.
Yep.
Same as before with a shaky mocap, not that bad if you can put up with the low-res nature. Goro is about to fall when his brother saves him, so Goro throws him off the cliff for being a pussy. It's the way of the Shokan. It's also the way of Tekken.
It is. Yes, good point.
Yeah, man, they're shoving a lot of background in this cartoon about walking on an island. I can see the purpose of this VHS to give the background on Goro, considering he was so immobile, speaking of Kerry Von Erich, in the film, because he was just a big puppet no one enjoyed working with.
Yeah.
So they just put it on this instead. I'm like, okay, I can vibe with that. Then I'll put Kung Lao with hat, but it's not that Kung Lao versus Goro. I'll put, oh sure, Goro's brother can look exactly like Goro, but two Kung Laos can't wear the same hat. Bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Goro batters Kung before very slowly putting his body down, which I thought was funny. Played the mocap actor didn't want to hurt the other dude for reals. Shang yells flawless victory, which is absolutely not true. You saw him get hit. Don't gaslight us, you fuck. We're not Johnny Cage.
Even in the live action movie, like, he'll shout flawless victory at anything. It doesn't matter. So he took 1,000,000 punches. Flawless victory. Shut up. You don't even know your own rules.
Screw the rules. I have flawless victory. Then Shang takes Lao's soul, even though Lao spared Sung's life when he beat him centuries earlier. So the moral of the story is, after Goro killed his brother, and then Shang Tsung took Lao's soul, don't be nice to bad people. But Sonya is like, the legendary Kung Lao lost, how can we win? And Raiden, for some reason, smiling, says Mortal Kombat is not about death, but life.
First, you must understand the most important thing. Mortal Kombat doesn't mean death, but life. Mortal men and women competing for what they believe in. Every one of you has the potential to change the world and the outcome of this tournament.
And then he runs off when a load of barackas show up to slay the good guys.
So-
Thanks, Thunder Chud.
So I have, after all these flashbacks, Sonia just asked, Raiden, what's the point of all this? You're telling us about unbeatable virile dragon men and ice ninjas? How are we supposed to win this? It's not.
I like stories.
It's not about death, but life. Pieces out, teleports away, and then ensues the laziest, most time-wastingest fights / third acts ever, where all three heroes have Johnny Cage sans glasses, then has to take on wave after wave after wave of knockoff Baraka-chans. And I have it I have it down from 30-29 to 33-35. That is the same
In a third.
4 to 5 shots being repeated over and over and over again with the exact same sound effects. 3 minutes straight of this. You please tell me what you must have been drinking to get you through this bit.
Well, I had a good sober hour before this, so well done. The Cellamation fight scenes are all about the good guys and their offense. There's way too much reliance on the blur effect, which looks horrible. It doesn't help that we don't know how many Barackas there are, is it looks like 1 million when they're with Goro, and then like 6 come out the door.
Right.
The animation gets more limited and limited the longer the fight goes on. So having all these Barackas running towards the camera over and over again with the exact same Kang and Cage kicks became hilarious. I've seen better animation on a wristwatch.
You think these guys would try something new, huh?
And then Raiden appears 6 minutes later and summons Shang, so we get Shang's walking to the camera animation again.
Yeah.
Shang is like, oh, hi, Raiden. Rules broken? Whoa, really? Which ones? First time hearing of this. So then Shang says, Mortal Kombat starts now.
It started 5 minutes
He's lying.
ago.
And he's lying. It's a load of Barackas running towards the good guys again. That's not Mortal Kombat. And Raiden's like, lol. Yeah, Raiden goes, well, lol, I can't help you. He declared Mortal Kombat. How about you suck so much? I'm going to call you War Gods.
Smiles. This is the tournament has not begun. It literally hasn't. In the live action movie, they say, Shang Tsung's even nicer and says, we're going to start bright and early in the morning. Enjoy the feast. Here's free food. Even. And in this, it's like, no, it's even rougher, this tournament. Like, we don't even know is it a battle royale? I'm not sure what it is anymore. Because then the show just ends. Like, there's no...
Right. Shang's nice for a bit. He's acting like he's trying to get them to buy timeshares on his island so he can break even on this venture. And then, and he's like, lol, more combats now.
I guess.
Everyone charge everybody at once.
Hey, listen, we only rented
the game.
We only rented the island for the weekend. We have to start wrapping things up by Sunday. Let's just start now. We have to tear down the ring.
Pablo Escobar comes back on Monday. More Kombat starts now, all right? Hurry up. One round.
And everyone's looking at their program, and they're just like, oh yeah, I didn't even get into my room yet. I have down Raiden then interrupts the third time that Johnny Cage walks slowly backwards, retreating from the enemy, which is one
Trying
of
to retreat from the film.
I can't find the way out of here. It is one of the nicer animated bits where he's like slowly recoiling in horror, walking backwards. Has a lot of animation frames. But yeah, Raiden interrupts, wags his finger at Shang Tsung, and then Mortal Kombat. Dun, dun, dun.
It has begun.
And you look at the running time and you see there's 21 minutes left on this VHS tape / YouTube video. And you're like, probably, what was your reaction to the credits rolling and then you seen there's 21 more minutes left? What were you thinking?
Oh. ... Whatever the noise that makes in your head when you read it in a book, that. I've seen less stalling in a Larry Zbyszko match. Fucking hell. All that for that. As like this fell off a cliff so badly you could call it Goro's brother.
Yeah. So
I'll give it credit though. The fight sequences on the boat with the cell animation, what I want to call
hilarious.
it, didn't look that bad, and at least set up, well, that person could do ice moves, this person could do scorpion moves, etc. It's like, all right, okay, they're doing a decent job of what they've got, which is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then here they're like, oh no, we actually need to make something with nothing. And the result was this.
This final fight is, it can't be any other thing than we're running out of time. We're running out of time and money. So just this big whiff of a 60s Spider-Man. Oh, what? There's still 8 minutes left in the episode. Just have him web swing in all the noxious green skies of the Ralph Bakshi era, where like he's just doing it for 5 minutes straight. So it totally reminded me of. I remember watching this at a friend's house years ago. Like I want to say a couple years after it came out, like I'd already seen it the one time. I remember we rented it because we were playing, I want to say MK4 at the time or something. And we're like, hey, yeah, it's been a while. I wonder if this thing was like, do you remember any of this? And we're watching, and like this last, 5-8 minutes of the fights, of the wave of Baraka Urukai showing up, and it's tough going. It's really hard to make it through. And then you're treated to the 21 minutes of credits, which fine, everyone needs to be credited for their work. And then profiles for all the characters that you have just seen. Would have been nice to put that at the start, maybe, to give people like a bit more familiarity with the characters, perhaps. And then 15 minutes of a mini documentary on the making of the movie. Bunch of talking heads, bunch of BTS footage. And we get
BTS were on this? Oh, sweet.
Right. Now all the kids will want to see. So it's so flagrant. Like, this is why this thing exists, because it is half the length of the actual video that you're watching. Like, from the start of the animation of The Journey Begins, it's 15 minutes, and the main movie is about 33, give or take 30, because of the 2 minutes of ads at the start. So this is why they just did it. Hey, the Mortal Kombat movie's coming out, in case you didn't know. Go in theaters now. So not much to say about the behind the scenes doc, except for Larry's amazing little tribute at the end, where he's like, hey, you can watch this stuff, you don't have to, we're having fun.
At the end of the day, all the strategies, all the talk, all the planning, all the money, we're having a blast here because we're making something that we really think will be fun to see, and that's what we want you to experience too. Just a lot of fun.
That's what you want to hear in a documentary, isn't it? No refunds.
You've rented the tape. We got your money.
Thanks for the villa. Yeah, I put on the profiles. Sonya's beauty and skills make for a deadly combination, it says. I put bitch, Scorpion has that too. Also, Liu was, quote, once a member of the Order of the Temple. I put once? Did he leave? I mean, I guess it's later on when he was dead, but I mean, he's allowed to come back, right? What happens if he wins Mortal Kombat and then he comes back on the boat? Like, no, you left.
I think that was
Splitter.
Basically the movie thing, because remember in the movie they're like, Liu Kang moved back to America, then became soft, and
lost his accent and became this version. Oh, you're right,
and then when
Matt,
he goes
you're
back
right.
to the temple, he's like yelling and shaking all the monks, going, "You're all crazy! You're all wrong! None of this exists! I need to check you into somewhere."
He's just Chris Farley in Beverly Hills Ninja.
Versus Game Liu Kang, who's like all about this shit, he's like, works, is a member of the Order of the Lotus, or the White Lotus Society, I should say. And they don't mention the White Lotus Society, it's just the Order of the Temple. So yeah, that's movieverse Liu Kang. So.
Also, Lin Kuei is pronounced like Q.
Believed to be a member of the Lin Q, a legendary clan of Chinese ninjas.
The Lin Q.
Yeah. I mean, I would have also called it that too back in the day,
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. I'm acting really smug for a thing intended for children who don't know it's the actual video of the film out.
Exactly. So what did you make of this overall?
I mean, I want to picture like the people, not the people in the documentary, but the people like got this and told what they had to do with the time they had and the resources, and they were like, oh, you know, looked at each other and went, all right, but it's not going to be pretty, and like, it doesn't need to be pretty, just make it. And I think they could probably look at themselves and just gone, you know what, they're probably happy with what they did with what they had. It wasn't great by any means, but the accomplishment of making this with as little animation as humanly possible.
Yeah. Okay,
I can see that aspect of it. As a fan of Mortal Kombat, at this period of Mortal Kombat especially, it's like, okay, I'm glad they got some money for it.
Was there a combat code somewhere? Remember they did all the...
I looked for one
You
because,
did.
you know, OSW was obviously taught about that scene where he fights Reptile in the film,
Yep.
and there's supposed to be a cheat code in the background, but you can barely see it on the Blu-ray. So I don't mind people in the VHS era watching it, and I did not see one.
Because in the...
There was no codes for
no
apologize to your mum.
I was going to say code no blocking. Because in the credits of the live action movie, a combat code appears just randomly in the credits, like, you know, like best boy, best grip, and then combat code. So
that's
they
right,
would hide
yes.
them in the credits, but I didn't think to check here. I want to say yes, because this was, I want to say it's buried there somewhere, but it's like, except for getting smoke, like, I don't even remember a single code that was worth doing. So that sucks.
Yeah, for this period it was have blood.
Sweat.
Fight Reptile.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I'm trying.
I was crushed when I saw this as a kid. I was like on board during the boat bit, and as it progressed, and we saw Dad Man, and then the last 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, oh my god. And then back then you didn't know how much was on a VHS tape, like what was left to go, really. So as it kept going, I was like, oh, and like, yeah, I was kind of, a little starting to get a little bit wise to like marketing things and just going like, oh, yeah, I already knew the Mortal Kombat movie was coming. Like, I already knew. So, like, preaching to the choir, kind of. So, I didn't even get that out of it. It's not like I rented it one day. I was like, oh, there's a Mortal Kombat movie coming. Like, so it failed on that. I was already hyped. And this did not hype me more once I had seen it. So, out of all of Threshold Entertainment's things, I think this is like the biggest failure in terms of what it was, because live action tour show is a very different experience, right? You can enjoy that for what it is, and then the actual cartoon show, the Defenders of the Realm, and then Mortal Kombat Conquest, which Wrath appeared in, of course. So and various other wrestlers, I think, too. Like all of that.
And Mang, I believe.
Mang, yes, thank you. All of those have a sort of like, I get why this exists and I can derive some type of pleasure out of this. And like, this is like, if a lot of the cell animation fights happen more often, like it's approaching these so bad it's good and you can laugh at it sort of thing. But after a little while, it just starts with all the explanation and the CG fights, which are fine, but they're not particularly exciting, right? And there's not really any animation errors in them to poke fun of, so it just becomes kind of a slog. Thankfully, since it's only 33 minutes long, like, I can only imagine if they tried to stretch this to like an hour and a half. Jesus, but thankfully they didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, it's only 33 minutes. Good.
Like the Tekken anime movie, like the Cell animated one, like that has a couple of things to make fun of. Heihachi eating an axe, or invisible raptors, but for long stretches of time, there's not much going on. So like, I think if you're going to be bad, at least be short. And this does at least. And it gave us Dad Man, the jobber Mortal Kombat character. He should be Hornbuckle. He should be the new Hornbuckle, absolutely. So,
yeah, you put a good song there, Matt. If you're going to be bad, you got to be short.
Don't overstay your welcome. So, yeah, the journey that begins. Would you rather watch this or Legend of Chun-Li? That's the question. I have my answer, but what is yours?
Oh God, I'd forgotten about the Legend of Chun-Li.
Everyone did.
Thanks to the wonders of CTE. But I'm gonna be thinking about Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins and the repeated use of the walk animations. See Shang Tsung enter and exit a door 4 times.
See Shang Tsung horn on Sonya.
See Goro be teased, and then 2 minutes later, because it's short, there he is.
See Johnny Cage see nothing as he bumbles over people. Doesn't seem to know where he's going or where he's at. But yeah. I would rather watch this again, because it's like you don't have to watch the whole tape. You just have to watch the animated bit. So you don't got to watch the advertising. So that's 30 minutes versus an hour and 30 minutes. So I'd rather do that myself.
There you go. Staying positive. I'll give you more time to watch your magnificent 2 YouTube channels.
What YouTube channels can you be found at, Maffew?
Probably Botchamania again. Or Forever. I forget which ones are labeled now. Just search Botchamania and the worst episodes of OSW.
One person agrees about that. I don't OOC, but I myself love your Botchamania appearances, especially the Mortal Kombat episodes. So I'll link that in the description below, where you reviewed both Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the 2 greatest Mortal Kombat movies.
Yes.
So yes, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, which has now concluded.
It has ended. Rain should have said that at the end. That's it, folks.
Fighting Game Theater.